How's it going, guys? Ben here, Sodak. This is my bow shop. Alright, so starting out, here's my range. This is a paper tuning setup that I have. I can just slide a piece of paper in here and then adjust the height as I need, shoot into my target, and I can paper tune that way. This is where my arrow cutting station is. This is where I cut all my arrows. This is the D-Cut. Bought it from LancasterArchery.com. Really good arrow saw. Came with a replacement blade if I need it. I haven't had to replace the blades yet. Like I said, it's a really smooth cut, cuts really well, works really well for what I need it for. Here we have my draw board. So this was one thing that I was kind of, I was weary about if I actually needed one or if I actually wanted one. Definitely something I would invest in. This was $100, I think. Comes with a handle. Was really hesitant about getting a draw board. I didn't realize I didn't think I would need it as much. I really like having a draw board. It really comes in handy when your bow's not shooting right. You can check timing, rest setting, anything like that. The thing I've most recently found useful is when you push your rest up and you wind it all the way back to full draw, it helps you see if you're right through the burger hole, if you're level or off with your arrow at full draw. So it helps with knock pinch and stuff like that. So super handy. Really glad I ended up buying that. Next, we're gonna jump over to the biggest purchase, the most expensive purchase aside from an actual bow, which is my bow press. Huge thing. If you want to work on your own equipment, I 100% recommend getting a bow press. It is, it's something that you don't think you really need until you don't have one. It's really nice just to be able to put in a peep sight. You can probably even do center shot with your arrow, tie in a knock point, all that stuff you can do with the bow press. You don't need any extra equipment. And this is the Last Chance Archery Easy Green. It is just the turn. It's not the fancy electric one, but it does the job perfectly. It really helps me play with like cable weights. If I want to lose weight, add weight. For timing, the whole purpose of the draw board, you can adjust your cams with the cables. Untwist, twist if you need to add or give timing, take timing, whatever it is to get your cam synced up perfectly. Very important piece of equipment. If nothing else, if you're looking at starting to work on your own equipment, this would probably be one of the first things I would purchase, just because it is so versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and this is going to be your most expensive purchase, period. So this is the bow vise, my bow vise. This is October Mountain Products bow vise. This is probably one of those things that if you had to skimp somewhere, you could do without this. This was more of a, I really wanted a bow vise just because I really wanted one. Most of the stuff I do on here, I could probably get away with doing on my Easy Green Last Chance Archery Press. This is more or less just a luxury. I like to be able to put my bow up there and look at it and get it level and check arrow levels and all that stuff. This is not a necessity. This is 100% I bought this because I really wanted one. If I had to go do it again, I might have skimped on this, at least for a couple years. It does help. It's nice to have. Definitely not a necessity, though. So then this is just my workbench. This is where I do the majority of my work. Arrow building. Obviously, you can see I'm a bit of an arrow junkie. But this is where I do most of my builds. I have my arrow building kits right here in my tackle boxes. These are a bunch of components from nocks to lighted nocks to inserts, different weighted inserts. I have 50 grains, 100 grains, normal standard inserts. At one point I had outserts. Here I have just like outsert sleeves, peep sights. This is all like tools that they sent with some of the stuff that I bought, like my bow vise and then my release aids, and then points and all that stuff up here. So, and then this is just all the vanes that I have. Anytime I buy a pack of vanes, they go in here. So I have some like the Bonin X vanes, the short ones. Don't really use those anymore. Silent Night, I bought a package of those because I was testing them out. Don't really use them anymore either. Obviously, you can see I'm big on AAE because I have a bunch of different varieties there, but that's pretty much my arrow building accessories. And then I have my arrow spinner and my arrow squarer right here. These are two things that if you're looking to build your own arrows, the arrow spinner is probably not as important if you're buying decent quality arrows. I've yet to have an arrow that doesn't spin right out the box. The reason I like the arrow spinner is because after I've been shooting an arrow for a while and I put a broadhead on it and it just seems to shoot really wonky, I throw it on there and then spin it, and I also spin test my broadheads. So if you see that tip wobbling and you don't think it's your arrow, it very well might just be the tip is bent. I've bent a lot of broadheads. As long as they spin correctly, I'll still practice with them. As soon as they stop spinning correctly, I stop practicing with them altogether and they get retired. And then your arrow square. This is a huge piece that if you don't have one, I totally recommend getting one. Basically, there's just a little piece of sandpaper right there, and you put your arrow on it, and then you just flatten the, you just make sure it's smooth and perfectly rounded. Super vital piece, especially if you're building your own arrows. You definitely want to invest in one of these, no doubt. And then of course, this is just more tools for building my own arrows. I have my AAE Max Clean wipes. Always got to have a pack of those on hand. And then just some Q-tips, really just for cleaning out the ends before I put inserts in. And then here I have a scale. I have all the Allen keys. I have a nice big set here. These are really nice, especially for like rest adjustments. You can kind of get in there without messing with your strings too much or bumping into anything. And then I just have a whole bunch of them that I've acquired over the years. Knives, cutters, glue, scissors, some sweet little notes from Brian over at State Wraps. Yeah, and then here I have my primer pens. Silver Sharpies for building arrows is a great thing to have. If you don't have one or two lying around, I'd get a couple. And then I have my acetone jar there. And then kind of going back over the top, I have a multi-tool, more knives, bow string wax, which if you decide to go with the best string company around, A8 or A3 strings, A3 archery, you won't need string wax. These ones I've never waxed and they're still turning out great. These ones I'm actually waiting for a set to come in the mail, and as soon as I get those in, they'll be thrown on that bow and I don't have to worry about that either. And then I have my release aids, nose button. I've grown to be a huge fan of the Bomar nose button. It's really just nice to have a solid anchor point. Not a huge fan of kisser buttons, but the nose button seems to work really well, and it works well with my beard, and that's the important thing. Next we have my scales. So I have a Last Chance archery scale, and then I have just a super cheap pole scale. I prefer this one because I don't have a place to hang this one, but it's nice to be able to compare the two together. I use both of them pretty regularly. They're just nice little pieces of equipment to have. And then I have my State Wraps that I've used, unused ones that I haven't even opened yet. There's still a couple on some of these. I got another tape measure here and a stapler in case I need to staple something. Here I have a couple different arrow pullers. This is the Legends Spear. Amazing arrow puller. I have had quite a few arrow pullers in my day. That is definitely the best one I've had. That's why it's on top, because I use that the most. And then here I have just a variety of broadheads that I've used or I've tested, or some of these are practice heads, like practice head, unused. Whole pack of unused there, and then some Gobbler guillotines if I ever get into that as well. This is something I actually just set up yesterday. This is just a spool holder for all my BCY 23 D-loop material and serving material. I just actually drilled a hole in the bench, and then I threw one of my busted arrows down it, and it fit all the holes really well. And then it's pretty sturdy in there, and I think it looks pretty cool. kind of see my custom wraps and my configurations there. And then it just holds my spool. So as I get more, I'll be able to pull this arrow out, put more up, and then shove it back in the hole, and it should work fine. So yeah, that's pretty much my workbench area. So this is something that my wife actually had that she didn't use anymore. This is just a little shelving unit that I keep stuff in. Extra parts, Allen keys, screws. For the Easy V site, it comes with all these different yardages or yardage sites. So I have all those in there, different pieces to rest. Here's all my fletching equipment. I got 3 fletching jigs now. That I use everything for different purposes. So here's the stabilizers, it looks like. So here's my old stabilizers. Here's a 12-inch bar that'll go on my new bow, and then some back weights and some quick attachments and stuff. Broadhead box, more Allen keys, knife sharpener, just different packages of stuff. So here is another spot that I just kind of built this with spare wood lying around. That's why it kind of looks junky, but this is just my arrow drying rack. Obviously I have a couple arrows for a test that I'm doing drying up here. But just a couple holes so they can dry without having veins touching, and then a couple holes on the bottom so if I have field points in there, they can sink in there, they're not gonna move. And then here we have my arrow rack. This is where all the arrows that I have sit. I have a couple different brands in here. So I have, here are my Element archery arrows that I've kind of been playing with. Here are my son's arrows, my wife's arrows, old aluminum arrows that I use in my recurve. I got foo-foo arrows in here that I use in my recurve. And then of course my good old blood sport hunters. Here's some Easton Axis 5mm. I got those on sale, so I decided to try those a little bit. Obviously you can tell they're all fletched up because I was shooting them. More Bloodsport Hunters. And then here are the new arrows that I'm actually playing with. These are my Zombie Slayers. These are from Black Eagle Arrows. I'm a huge fan of these arrows. I just started using them this season. Actually, just recently I just got these in. The biggest difference between the Black Eagle arrows and the Bloodsports that I got is the length. So as you can see, they come in 32s and Bloodsports come in 31s. So that's kind of a nice little thing to just know. So guys, that's my bow shop. One of the big reasons I wanted to make a bow shop was mainly because I live out in the country now. We moved out here almost 2 years ago now. It's a good 30-40 minute drive for me to get to a pro shop, and I wanted to get as involved with archery as I could, and I felt the next step was doing my own work on my bows. It started with arrows. It started with me building arrows for myself. And I realized I liked that a lot. It was really fun to be able to do my own thing with that. And then it went to bows. I started doing stuff like D-loop tie-in, adjusting peep sight, putting the nose buttons on. And then it went to, I want to be able to do cam adjustment. I want to be able to put peep sights in. I want to be able to swap out strings, which, hint, hint, video coming. But I want to be able to do all this stuff myself without having to go pay somebody else to do it, or without having to drive to go do it, or having to wait for the turnaround time. I do trial and error, which is my best friend. You don't learn unless you mess something up. So that's my motto. That's how I do things. I try, I shoot, it didn't work. I do the opposite. I try, it didn't work. I do something else, it worked. Great, I know how to do it now. So that's kind of what I've been doing. That's the reason I wanted a bow shop. So just thought I'd take you along and show you, this is my bow shop. This is why I purchased some stuff. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Go ahead and check my Instagram page out. It's right there, Sodak Horizon. Daily content there, a lot of good stuff, I think. And I think people agree with that too. So like this video, comment if you think there's absolutely something that I need that I don't have, or if there's something that I have that you personally don't think I need. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Shoot straight, hunt safe, kill what makes you happy, fill them tags, fill them freezers. God bless. We'll see you on the flip side. Bye.